From a night of fear to a morning of trust, what can bring such radical change? Let's discover the secret of Parshat Vayishlach. It's a dark night. Jacob is terribly distressed. He has returned to Canaan as God instructed him. God also promised to protect Jacob, but now he learns Esau is on his way with 400 men. What does Esau intend with such an army? An attack seems imminent. Fearing greatly and in distress, Jacob cries out to the Lord for deliverance. And he tries to appease his brother by sending servants with droves of animals as a gift to Esau. Parshat Vayishlach presents Jacob's thoughts in an interesting way. In a literal translation of the Hebrew, Jacob says, I will atone his face with the offering that goes before my face. And after that I will see his face. Maybe he will accept my face. It's the middle of the night now. In fear of his life, Jacob sends not only gifts before him, but also makes his entire family cross the river Jabbok with all he possesses. But he himself stays behind, alone in the night. He can't face his brother. But then, suddenly, out of the darkness, a man assails him. Who is this? Esau coming to kill me? Someone on my brother's side? The mysterious figure wrestles with Jacob till daybreak. Seeing more is needed to subdue Jacob, the man just touches Jacob's hip and puts it out of joint. But Jacob still hangs on, so the man demands to be released from Jacob's grip. It dawns on Jacob. His opponent is no mere mortal. Discerning this is God's messenger, Jacob asks for his blessing as a condition for release. Actually, Jacob was struggling with the angel of the Lord, or as Jacob himself calls him, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil. This angel is the very face of the Lord himself. In Hosea 12, the prophet, in recounting this incident, identifies this angel as the Lord himself. Listen to what he says. In the womb, he, Jacob, took his brother by the heel, and in his maturity he contended with God. Yes, he wrestled with the angel and prevailed. He wept and sought his favor. He found him at Bethel, and there he spoke with us. Even the Lord, the God of hosts, the Lord is his name. Yes, God appeared as a man. Jacob clings to him. I will not let you go unless you bless me. So God changes Jacob's name to Israel. He strives with God. This night and this name change encapsulate all of Jacob's life, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. But how is this possible? How can you prevail against God? Only if he lets you. The great miracle in this story is God's amazingly gracious restraint. In all its mystery, the point of the story is clear. There's something that takes priority above the atoned face of the brother who becomes your worst fear. It is the atoned face of the Lord who blesses you. That's of greater importance. Jacob comes to understand this wonderful truth. His heart is filled with glad amazement, and he calls the name of the place Peniel, or face of God. He tells us why. For I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered. Yes, Jacob would be limping physically the rest of his life, but literally and figuratively, the sun rose upon him as he passed Penuel. And look, just at that moment, Esau arrives, together with his 400 men. Jacob still has his wives and children lined up out front. But then he comes up from the rear to stand before them. Yes, Jacob can face his brother now. We see in Jacob's no longer fearful attitude the same sentiment as David will later express. In God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can man do to me? Jacob is not only accepted by God, but even reconciled to Esau. This reconciliation reflects the favor which Jacob found that night in God's face. Jacob says to Esau, I've seen your face, which is like seeing the face of God, and you have accepted me. The night of fear has turned into a morning of amazing grace. Jacob understands God's grace has made the impossible possible. He should have died at Esau's hand, but he lived. He should have died for seeing God, but he lived. This story can be our story too. The same God who preserved Jacob's soul also wants to wrestle with us. He wants us to find his atoned face through the Messiah Jesus. Because also in him God appeared in the form of a man. Actually, he is the very man who wrestled with Jacob. Here's our application. Wrestle with Yeshua and your life will be preserved. Place your trust in the atonement he has accomplished through his sinless life, substitutionary death, and resurrection in power, and you will receive eternal life. As always, we'd love to talk. See the chat below. We wish you God's perfect Shalom.